Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I suppose you're here to talk to your Uncle Joel about the... Welcome back to another electronic adventure in the Pepsi Lab. In the last video, I didn't talk too much about the transformer section of this machine. Here we can see 3 different rows of values we can pick for our coils. If we look inside, you can see that they're all wrapped around a single transformer. This is what the transformer sees while we're working on it. To set up our first circuit for the open circuit test, you just do this. Once you get all that set up, you can flip on the switch to the computer and... Oh. The computer's been frozen for like 10 minutes. I'm gonna have to redo the whole thing at a different station. Get the usual metering and graph out, but this time pull up the oscilloscope. These are the settings for it. The reason we set these two to different values is just to change the amplitude scale. Without that, the two of them would kind of overlap and look the same. That all looks good, so we can punch on the power supply. You may notice that these results are incredibly boring. That's because the coil values are the same on either side of the transformer. For part 7, I was trying to figure out a way to program one of the cells of the metering window to just tell us what the losses were, but I couldn't figure it out, so I'm just not going to grade that on the lab report. For those of you that love math and want to try it out anyway, the formulas are at the bottom of the lab report. After turning it off, changing it to the short circuit test is as simple as this. We only need to raise the power supply up to fit that 0.5 amps. Here are the results for part B. Now things get a little more complicated with the step-up auto transformer. Change the meter settings again and notice the difference in amplitude. Here are the results for part D. I just realized that for like the previous 3 sections, the table had been reading the wrong things. But if I went back and re-recorded, it would mess up my sound effects. So I'll just add a file of the right data in the Blackboard. Okay, here are the actual results for part D. Changing from circuit D to circuit E may look like you'll have to redo the entire thing. But if you think about it, there's a way to switch it over using just this section. I encourage you all to look at the circuits in the lab write-up and try to think of why that is. These should be results for the final part of the lab. Well, there we have it. A mess of wires and a ton of technical difficulties. Kind of like if you came to the lab in person. Tune in next week when we talk about motors.